This is Trans-Africa Radio.
When you look at the landscape and you look at sort of the stories that need to be told, where do you even start to choose? I mean, apart from the Solomon Mahlangus of the world, but where do you even begin to choose? Because, Kalushi is not a contemporary blockbuster, guns and explosions, but it's a really beautiful story. I mean, I love the fact that it was multi-level, layered.
Mm-hmm.
You could even with no context of apartheid, you could easily watch it with never knowing. You could take away the apartheid element, and it is just a story, a beautiful story at that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that was our intention. We wanted that. Even a person that my co-producer says all the time. Walter A, as he says, even if somebody is to watch a film in downtown Kiev, they should get the story. So I went in there to direct the film with that in mind, that it must be made as simple as possible. And if you can't get it coming from New York or coming from Guyana, then there's something wrong with the filmmaking part of it directorially,
Yeah.
So it's. Yeah, I mean, I think the story will be relevant even 500 years from now. I've said to the Minister of Arts and Culture here, and to some friends, and maybe, I don't know, to those even close to the president, to say that 5,000 years from now there will be no Nkandla, but there will be Solomon Mahlangu's story, because it's stories are what remind us of where we come from and where we're going.
Did you feel the burden directorially and as a creating this whole environment of the story, the magnitude of the story on your shoulders, and for you to do it justice?
No, like I said, when you're making a film, you're not thinking all those things. You're sitting there, it's about the moment, the scene that you're focusing on at that time. That's it. I can't. You have no time to be thinking about how. No. Because once you've negotiated the go ahead, the thumbs up has been given, there's no time to be sitting there and just thinking, okay, how is this person going? It's about making the story. You have a limited number of days, and you've been waiting for 5-6 years to get it ddone.
And
all of a sudden they say, yeah, you can make it. You're like, oh, thank God.
Let's run.
Let's run. You know what I mean? The other stuff, like, I hope this person won't be worried when they...
Yeah, when you don't have time for it.
Yeah.
I like that also. It's sort of, and again, I think it is the spirit of Solomon Mahlangu who somehow or other, in the midst of all of that, the integrity of the story was kept, and it was such a very inspiring story. So let's talk about it. 9 years, Mandla. Why 9 years to put together? There are people who are bringing out music videos 3 a day. How 9 years?
Well, music videos, I started in music videos.
I bring it up because I know, Mandla.
I started in music videos, I don't know, maybe 1992, 93. I used to do music videos in Atlanta when I was doing my undergraduate studies. So in music videos, you can do anything. That's why you can shoot 3 music videos in a day. But I use it as a laboratory to learn about cinematography and how to be able to develop my eye. When I was doing my undergrad, I did music videos with people like Keith Ward, who did Brandy's music video. Remember that whole... We did Outkast music videos.
Andre 3000, hey?
Yeah, we did, what's his name? Arrested Development. What are the guys? Goody Mob. You know Goody Mob?
No, I don't.
CeeLo Green.
CeeLo, yes, I know CeeLo.
Yeah, I did his first stuff, man.
Before CeeLo was CeeLo.
When CeeLo was CeeLo. Like,
an icon of the music industry.
Tupac should go. We used to do
no
some music.
way.
Biggie. In Atlanta.
Hold on. You are part of probably like 9 people in the world who can say they've worked with both Biggie and Pac.
They
were still alive.
Music videos, in Atlanta. A lot of like rap guys. Outkast, as I said. Some, Arrested Development, and some of them I can't remember.
How do you make the jump? How do you make the jump from having something? I mean, as you said, it was a laboratory for you. But also, I mean, at some point you have to start mapping out where you want your career to go. And for you to come to the point where you're Kalushi.
I was fortunate that I had a lecturer, a teacher. You did ask me a question. I don't know how we got into this, but my lecturer, when I was doing my undergrad, the concentration was cinematography 1 and 2. And he said, it was a class of 82 people. And he said, only 2 of you are gonna make it out there in the film industry. You must ask yourself, which one are you?
How big was the class?
I think it was like 52 or 82. It was a big class, you know.
So I'm looking around. I'm like, a good 99%.
Yeah. So you look at it, you're like, you know what? It ain't me. I'm gonna make it in this joint. I don't care what.
me and one other guy.
Yeah, me and one other person, you know. So I really told myself, okay, I have to learn how to do one thing and do it properly.
Yeah.
And that was cinematography. So I started out in working at a rental house. Prepping equipment, lenses, cameras, cleaning the magazines and cleaning the lenses, and when they came out on the shoot, and learning how to mount the camera on various gadgets and gimbals and so forth. And then eventually an opportunity came to do a music video, and the friend of mine, Keith Ward, was directing, and he said, can you come and shoot these music videos for me? And back then, music videos you could do for like $80,000, $100,000, and then they would even stretch to like $500,000. And so you're shooting a music video for like 2 days, or
so it's a mini biopic. Yeah,
and you learn so much. And at the time we were filming on celluloid.
Okay.
Right, you weren't shooting on digital. So whatever it is that you're shooting, you got to make sure that it's correct. So learning how to make exposure,
you can't delete it, hey?
Yeah. It's
already
in there.
imprinted.
It's in there, and then you only you as a cinematographer, pretty much you know what it's going to be the outcome.
Okay.
The director doesn't even really have a show of what it is, other than what they're seeing on a monitor nowadays. When you look at monitor, everything is on what do they call Reg 709, somewhere Reg 709. You see what the image is. It's not the director knows exactly what it's going to look at the end.
Yeah.
So you can't hide or say, so it's much more pressure when you're filming today, because you've got a few people at the monitor telling you, no, can it be brighter there? It's a bit dark there. And then
you can go wider.
Yeah, you can go wider. You're like, shut up. You can be one director, So that was a good laboratory, the music videos. And then, how does one zen and say, listen, I want to be a director, not a music video person? It's passion. I've been wanting to be involved in filmmaking from the age of about 7 or so. I didn't have speech until I was like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
I can say. So film and cinema, what helped me to unlock my tongue. And I used to like going to the movies so much, and I would see these big images on the big screen, and I wanted nothing just to listen to them and just the sounds they were making, and then eventually it unlocked my tongue. I could start talking.
So we're talking about why it took so long for the story then to be told.
Yes.
Of Kalushi. How we come back.
Yeah. So it took a long time, because I had a challenge in the sense that I couldn't find a director who could resonate with telling the film, because I'm a cinematographer by training. So, and I got a friend of mine to come and help me write the script, Teddy Matera. We were going to do it as a 4-part drama series. We'd done it as a stage play at the South African State Theatre with the artistic director there. And I told myself, listen, I didn't go and study film and make all these music videos and work on all these big films and then come and be settled for stage plays.
Yeah.
I'm a filmmaker, so let me go out there and really do what I love doing. So we're going to do this as a 4-part drama series. That was back in 2010, 11. Nah, I don't want to do a 4-part drama series, because Solomon Mahlangu's story deserves a bigger canvas.
It's
an
epic
stage. Story. It's
yes.
a bigger canvas to be able to tell. So it's huge in scope, a bigger color palette and those kinds of things, So it went on, and then an opportunity came to where I was introduced to the lottery, and the guy said, you really should apply to the lottery, they might be able to fund you.
Yeah. And
then I did that, and then I abandoned the whole television series concept, and then went and took what Teddy and I did, and then I asked Leon Otto to come and co-write the script with me, and then we did that. And then eventually I took it over to write it for the screen as a director. And it was quite a daunting task because I had asked something like 4 or 5 directors if they want to come and direct it, and most of them were like, no.
But why were they reluctant to?
Well, I
to
mean,
come in?
you when you go and make a film, remember you need to get them to make a film. It's about 2, 3, maybe 5 years of your life that you're going to be dedicated to. And for this kind of story, it's not like an in and out, you know.
It's so because
you have to immerse yourself.
And it's also a big story. It is a massive story that needs you to treat all the elements very, very differently. And I mean, I even imagine, I was looking at the cast, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, Pearl Tusi. Okay. I was like, okay.
Well, you know, Pearl Tusi mustn't come and scare you. She's not an actress per se.
Yeah.
She's now developed into an actress. And she actually says to me, she's like, oh no, Mandla, you know, I can't stand it because everybody started making the film about me because of my
Quantico and
my being Quantico. And I mean, and Kalushi came before Quantico.
Yeah,
she said, you know, I don't like it because it's like I'm overshadowing the film, and it's not true because it's such a beautiful story. So Pearl Tusi came by virtue of having done events and stuff like that, and then she really couldn't believe that she could do this story, you know. She could, and I said, listen, you've got, every single one of us has talent. Just allow yourself to zen into this, and then, you know, immerse yourself in the material, in the content, and then allow the character to talk to you.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can do this, you know?
I mean,
if I can direct, I'm sure you can.
Cinematographer turned director.
Yeah, you can be able to do it. But we also had a wonderful cast. I mean, we had Tabora Metsi playing Solomon Mahlangu. We had Thabo Malema playing Mondi Mutlo. We had Wedile Nzuza playing Tommy London, Thomas Masuku. So if you pair folks together like that, you know, you can only bring out the best
in them. Yeah, I think
in them. You know what I mean? And I say all the time, by honoring people like Solomon Mahlangu, we honor the best in ourselves. So it was inevitable that she would quickly move in there and swim.
I know my good friend Pearl from when we were in varsity together, and I think
she went to Wits.
She went to Wits. That's where we locked heads and horns there. But I think, you know, the wonderful thing also is for me it goes beyond the creation of the story. It goes beyond just, you know, putting the story onto a film and, you know, we get to watch it and we clap nicely at the end and you get, you know, the fans coming in. But the idea also that you've had to live through so many parts of it. You've had to live in stories like the Pearl Tusis of the world, falling into themselves as actresses. And growing through that, and then the number of lives it touches, just beyond, you know, just the small cast and even the people who watch it. So when we come back, we're gonna interrogate exactly this idea of filmmaking in South Africa and the continent at large, because I think it's an interesting thing that our stories, we still don't have enough of them being told, and the barriers to entry there are varied in whatever they are. So we'll chat about that, and of course we delve deeper into the man that is Solomon Mahlangu. We continue to chat with Mandla Dube on the other side of this. Gigi Lamaine coming through with Jungle Fever. Beautiful Mozambican Lisa James coming through with All For Y'all on Trans Africa Radio. And just before that, the sounds of the Black Tribunal with What We Be. It is #Man Talk Saturdays. Triple playing it with Gigi Lamaine and Jungle Fever all the way from South Africa. Listen, it's a big conversation. Mandla Dube in the studio talking all things Kalushi, the movie based on Solomon Mahlangu's life. A man born in Pretoria on the 10th of July in 1956 and became an icon of the apartheid struggle. And his death, has resonated with me quite significantly. Literally seconds ago I was saying to Mandla that, you know, I confess myself to have been very ignorant to the story of Solomon Mahlangu until I watched the movie, and I think it has been an absolute education. But more importantly, it's important, Mandla, that we tell the stories, because I think we're rich. We're rich in that. We have, and it's been said a million times how many times we're rich in history, but no one actually goes out and puts their time and money, and you've put 9 years of it. 9 years into what effectively will be a little more than 2 hours, around 2 hours of viewership. But I think you and the people like you begin a process where we can start looking at our stories more intelligently and start chewing it up and enjoying it more. But I'm looking at the cast. I mean, you had Tamara Metsi, you have Thabo Malema, you had the likes of Chafta Mamabolo, who we know him from his days on Soul City and then later in Jerusalem and many other publications. We have Fumani Shilubana, who's a former #Man Talk guest. We have Pearl Tusi, who is now in Quantico in the United States. We have Mamkina Mhlope, who is a storyteller par excellence, who played the role of Martha Mahlangu. You've got the likes of Lawrence Joffe. You've got Zweli Dube, was a former #Man Talk guest as well, Ubuile as well. So when you're sitting down and you now have to cast this iconic play, I mean, what goes through your mind as a director now, and also as a storyteller to say, these people will be okay or be the right people to tell the story?
Well, man, when you first start, in my case, I started with a huge, canvas that had a lot of cast in it.
Yeah.
So with my casting director, and we had to just cull it and make it smaller and smaller. Because recall, I had it as a 4-part drama series.
Yes.
So now I was culling and making it a story that's yet big, however small in as far as execution is concerned. But that couldn't, Solomon wasn't going to be denied, and it just kept on. I think we had some something close to 50 cast members or something like that. And then it took about 2 to 3 years to do the whole casting process. And I had actually offered the role of Solomon Mahlangu, to someone else. And I had offered it. Then I had a casting director come, and my acting coach come and sit down with me. So we started putting tape down to see, do these guys really, really, really understand the depth of what we're doing here. And then, once that started happening, I had to take it back. I had to tell the brother, no, man, I don't think you're the right guy. It was really sad.
Yeah.
To tell him no. Because Tabora Metsi came in there and he just killed it.
And he blew it away.
Yeah, he just blew it
As
away.
he often does.
Yeah, so it just had to be like, nah, you can't do that, And he did. I think I must have called him, Tabora Metsi called him something like 4 or 5 times. And eventually I was like, nah,
it has to be.
This is the kid. This is the guy.
How do you work out as you said, you've confessed yourself to be a cinematographer, and now you have to direct a cast. How's that journey for you?
It's wonderful because I've watched a lot of directors make films, and I've watched them get us out of a particular scene into the next scene. So I've had an opportunity to be observant and to listen to some of the world-renowned directors, just listening to them, how they work with actors, and it was just wonderful to be in that incubation process of just watching directors work. And so when this opportunity came for me to have to put down and direct, I had to get a friend and somebody who I believe can execute the cinematography better than I can, And then I asked a friend of mine, Tommy Maddox Epshaw, we went to school together in Hollywood at a place called AFI, and
yes.
And he came on board, and I was happy because we went to the same program, so I could just focus on directing the performers and periodically check the lens and the composition and all that with him. So.
Can we just talk about the wonderful job that Rashid did with the music?
Oh yeah, we could do that. Yeah. He did a good job.
My emotions were like this all the way through,
really?
and it was the score. I think it was so much of the music was and I think it works so well hand in hand that the components came together. And I think it goes back to your comment about Solomon would not be silenced. He had to make sure his point was put across.
Absolutely.
Because the music was also, at some point it was like a bit tormenting, and it also, I think, also underpinned the emotion of the scenes. When you find like you observing the love story and you kind of feel that they come through without also being sort of like Hollywood cheesy with like string quartet in the background and
we try to stay away from that a lot. I used to be like no, that's too Hollywood. Bring it back.
Too cheesy.
So here's what I did. I went ahead and I watched a lot of films for Kalushi, and I put together like 60 minutes of different clips from different movies, from the Battle of Algiers to Schindler's List to Amistad to you name them, Goodfellas, and a lot of films, Rashomon, and then I pieced together like a 60-minute reel of what the heads of departments have to look at, sound, production design, composition, the color palette, the costumes and so forth. Then I gave it to everybody, from the costume designer to the cinematographer, the editor, the sound designer, and I said, okay, just look at this. This is the brief of tone. This is the brief we have in as far as the color palette, lighting, sound and sound design and musical arrangement and so forth. So and then again, I was doing a whole conversation with the cinematographer, the musical arranger, the editor, a good 6 months before we got into pre-production, because they were based in Rashid at the time, was living in the US. So is Tommy, so is Craig. So I would Skype with them to discuss the story elements.
Of course, Craig being your editor.
My editor, yes, yeah, Craig Hayes. So we would Skype and talk for months, so that when we came time to pre-production,
We're running.
We're not wasting any time. because we had to do that.
I love the magic of film. I think the magic of being able to take all these components and at the end of it all become this one conducive thing. And also the fact that you also have to have these pieces talking to each other and marrying the idea to get that one common purpose. What is the story that's occupying your mind right now? That, if I gave you the 20 million rand you need to do the next story, would be the first go-to place?
Well, obviously, it's a script, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have to get the script right, and that's for me is I would take 2 or 3 months, maybe even close to 6 months, just sitting down, writing the script and consulting and doing research on the script and getting it out until maybe it's time to start talking and showing and say, okay, here's a script. What do you think?
What script right now? If you had to tomorrow you start off and that story that's been occupying your mind, you're like,
Well, it's several of them.
Yeah.
It's one. I'm working on one called the Rivonia trial because Kalushi is part of a trilogy of a brand called.
The Legends. I'm not talking enough. The Legends of Freedom. Like it.
So it's the Legends of Freedom, and Kalushi is one of them, and then
that's brilliant. So it's Kalushi is a story on its own, but it does form a part of a trilogy.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, and then the Rivonia trial.
Okay.
And then also the third one is Silverton Siege.
Okay.
And then obviously there are other Legends of Freedom in the entire continent of Africa. There are Legends of Freedom in Egypt,
I am so intrigued
Nigeria,
about the trial.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued about the Rivonia trial.
Okay.
I really, really am intrigued about the Rivonia trial. Because I'm looking at it through Kalushi eyes, right? So if in my mind I'm seeing the treatment, or I don't know what the technical term is, but I can see it. And if the story is, and I know there's lots of story there, and I can't wait for you to
do that.
Yeah, can someone?
We did it as a stage play at the South African State Theatre, and it was very successful. And there again, we had a wonderful cast, from the best of the best in South Africa. So I'm working on that, and I don't know if it's going to be a feature film. It might become a series because it's a big story.
Yeah.
And next year is going to be the 55th anniversary of the Rivonia trial and the centenary of Nelson Mandela's birthday. So those are other projects that I'm working on, and then I'm doing, as I said, a 3-part documentary series that's going to be airing in June on Mahlangu, which is a civilization, Iron Age civilization that gave birth to the Great Zimbabwe. So I'm doing that, and then also I'm working on a samurai story.
Okay, a samurai story.
Yeah.
A man of many talents, Amanda.
I'm developing it's funny enough. I was developing this right after we did Kalushi. A friend of mine sent me this says Dube, cinematographer, Tommy. He said, "This is your next project, man, because I know you like this."
And
then he knows, it was this is the black samurai.
Yeah.
He's not an original black samurai, but this is a true story about a man who left from here as a servant with the missioner, with the Jesuit priest, and they would end up in Japan, 1500s Japan, and then he would go on to be sold to the warlord of Japan at the time, Oda Nobunaga, and then he would become so revered as a warrior that they would take him into the close quarters of the Oda Nobunaga, and then he helps to unify Japan, and this is in 1550s, and a man like you and I came from here and then went on to
brown
Japan.
man to go, hey,
It's
fighting.
true. That's true. It's the truth. Huh?
Well, what I love, Mandla, is for someone who did history.
His name was Yasuga. Yasuga. Yeah, Yasuga.
Like Yasuga, like in Japanese, or Yasuga, like I'm hearing it from my Zulu ear.
Yeah,
Yasuga.
I think to tell you the truth, it originates from the Zulu.
Yasuga.
Yeah, Yasugi Impi.
Yasugi Impi. Like they try.
Yasugi Impi Zulu. So that's something that I'm working on, and then and as I've been developing it, I learned that a major studio in Hollywood is also doing the same story.
Okay.
So I'm in the process of talking to them to see how we can collaborate, because it's just a huge coincidence.
I think they need to come in and they need to give you a big 6-figure US dollar check, and they must let you do what you do, because if you've done what you've done to Kalushi has been iconic. I can't keep stressing it enough, and also because I love African stories. I think the story of the African man and the African woman has just fallen by the wayside, and I think you have done a brilliant job, an absolute brilliant job. I understand why it takes 9 years, because you've done it complete justice with even the car. Sometimes you watch a movie and sometimes you feel like he's being a bit indulgent, he knows he's a big actor, so he knows he can be indulgent. And for me, it was beautiful that it was just an honest story. It was an honest story, a simple honest story that in its simplicity was what made it resonate with so many people, because when I left the cinema, there was a standing ovation.
Wow.
And this was not an opening weekend, by the way.
Wow.
It wasn't in the pomp and red carpet and all of us clapping. It was, I paid for my ticket, went in, watched it, and people loved it.
Really? Where was this?
It was in Menlyn.
Wow.
And we just watched, and my chest was held, and I could not deal with it. So continue doing more, and bring him here. We'll tell Africa about the stories that you tell, because
you guys, hold on. You guys are all throughout the continent of Africa.
Part Asia and part Europe too.
Are you kidding me?
So you're Samurai Man.
Yes, I was gonna say you guys. I should run a whole crowdfunding campaign.
Bring it
with
here.
Bjorn,
We'll get the money together, and we'll have it.
You guys can become part of the producers of the film.
Yeah,
but I really think that it's high time that stories that have to do with the identity, we dealt with that in Kalushi too. Is the story of the issue of identity. Stories that have to do with our identity, that are rooted in here, and then they're about us in the diaspora, need to be told by us, and first and foremost, and then we can be able to give us that opportunity and that chance to be able to tell our story.
And I think also there's something that happens when you allow the people to whom the stories belong to tell the story.
Yes.
I can relate Kalushi to someone else, but it's very difficult for a third person to then narrate it that way.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that I think that's part of the stuff that you can't write down. The nuances. The nuances that
the subtleties.
Exactly. And the subtext that they get it. They really, really get it. I mean, I love Mamkina Mhlophe in the movie. Because I could just see Umama and I mean, I could smell dumpling in her house. I mean, but I could Umoshu, and all those things came so poignantly, because I mean, I could have been sitting at the table with her. I could have been dining at her house that particular evening. And for someone who wasn't born, I mean, I was born in the late 80s, and I was sitting with Mamkina, and I could relate. I could also, Umondi, no, Solomon. I also got jittery as well, because I felt like, I mean, I'm a black man.
Right.
I'm in as much trouble as they are. And isn't that the beauty of the stories?
Sure.
That they literally transport you to that moment. And I think, I don't know what you did. I don't know if, the next movie is 9 years.
It's rehearsals, my brother. You're given... Most of these guys, when they do films, and then they act across Idris Elba or some of these actors that come from outside, they're given the script literally 2 to 3 days before they shoot. And then they are expected to go and act in front of a A-list Hollywood star and then crack it. You won't. The person has had the script for a good part of maybe 5 months. They maybe have had 4 weeks of rehearsal with the director alone or something like that. You think you're going to be able to crack it? No, you won't. So what we did is we gave the actors 8 weeks of rehearsals on Kalushi.
Okay.
So by the time they got to the screen, they were literally friends with each other. The chemistry the bonding was so strong, and they could do what they did on the screen.
You know what it felt like? It felt like it was workshopped.
Yeah, well, I mean, we know what, the script?
No, not the script.
The story.
No, the story.
Of course.
Because, and I mean that in the nicest way possible. I
Sure,
mean
sure,
that
sure,
in
sure,
a
of course.
positive light. That it felt like it developed. The story had developed. It wasn't here you go, read your lines, digest them, and then bring them out. It just felt like they'd lived with it, and I think with a story of such gravity, that's what it needed. It needed you to chew it up for it to keep you awake at night, for you to fight the next day, to argue with the director, for you to get it
That's
out.
what happened. That's what happened. We went on boot camps. We went. I took them on the trains, to where Solomon Mahlangu used to be a hawker. And the train broke down, and they had to deal with the frustrations of jumping out the window and going to catch the next train and walking
on
the rail tracks. The train was stuck. I said, all right, guys, let's get up. And I met them in Mamelodi at like 6 in the morning, going through the dusty streets. And, so they had to feel it. And that's what was part of our workshop in the whole process. And had them come and rehearse 3-4 times in a week, each time 2 to 3 hours, one-on-one. And then, with each other and so forth. And I remember Pearl saying that I hate coming to Pretoria. It reminds me of going to a party. I was like, but you know what? That's part of the whole thing.
And it's all the setting.
It's part of the setting. The story takes place in Pretoria. It's good that you hate it. You don't like the city and all of that. But you'll also appreciate it once the film is done, because you'll know what your ancestors went through to be able to bring this liberation to that we today enjoy and call it democracy. So, it was a whole process, I
loved it.
Yeah.
I love the authenticity, and I think you've done it amazing justice. So 35 years after the passing of Mr. Mahlangu, I think wherever he lay, he is very, very impressed with you. And I think if anyone go out, and I'm a big fan of, paying for things.
Sure.
Go pay for it. And I want you to go watch the movie. If it's out on DVD, if it's out on downloadable for streaming, whatever, pay for it, because I think
it's gonna be on box office soon. I mean, it's high time that we really also mature and start realizing that we have to gotta pay for the things that we.
No, and you don't do this by mistake. You don't spend 9 years of your life and then thank you and a invite.
This is Trans Africa Radio.